Have you ever noticed that when you eat something with sugar like Reese's, Twix, any sort of snack like granola, that when you start eating these foods that you feel like you just can't stop? It's not because you have a problem or that you lack willpower or that you're undisciplined. It's only because you don't know how to manage your impulses around sugar and carbs. This is why so many smart women entrepreneurs and ambitious women still cave into eating sugar and carbs, because even though they have a lot of knowledge, they don't know how to manage their impulses around these foods. That's why in this video, I'm gonna show you in 4 steps how to have impulse control around sugar, carbs, and any food you crave so that you could lose weight permanently. If you're ready to feel in control around sugar, carbs, flour, and any food you crave, keep watching. Before I go into the 4 steps of how to have impulse control, I want to explain what an impulse actually is. Most of us go about our day not even realizing that we have these impulses that are driving our actions every single day. And what an impulse is basically a strong urge or desire to take action. So many of us don't even realize that we have a ton of impulses every day to take actions so that we could get a reward in some way. So when it comes to eating food, especially something sweet like sugar or carbs, our brain will have a strong impulse to eat those foods because they are very pleasurable. In other words, we have a brain that is wired for pleasure, and it wants to eat something that is really pleasurable in the moment because that is how it is designed for survival. Think about it, like foods like sugar and fat have a lot of calories, and so our brain is naturally drawn to want those foods. So the question becomes, how do you override your natural impulses and desires to eat these foods in the moment? The trick is you can't make decisions from that impulsive primal brain. You need to know how to use the more evolved part of your brain, which I also call the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that knows how to plan ahead. It works in alignment with your goals, and it wants to achieve and evolve to the next level. So to use that prefrontal cortex, you have to take these 4 steps to help you have impulse control around food. The first step on how to have impulse control around sugar and carbs is to plan what you're gonna eat ahead of time. Because we have that brain that acts on instant gratification, that primal part of our brain that wants pleasure now, we need to plan our food ahead of time so that we're not making our food decisions in the spur of the moment. If you make decisions on what you're gonna eat in the spur of the moment, most likely your brain is going to want to default to eating foods with a lot of sugar and carbs because those foods are very pleasurable right now. Instead, what you want to do is train your brain to make decisions ahead of time about what you're going to eat so that you're not making a decision that's based on instant gratification. You're making a decision that's based on delayed gratification. The way I do this is I have my clients, and I do this myself every day, we have them fill out this purpose planner or this journal every single day, and every night I have my clients write out exactly what they're gonna eat on the left side, and then you write down what you're actually eating on the day of on the right side. And what this does, it helps you see what food choices you want to make ahead of time and what food choices you're actually making on the day of, so you can make sure they are in alignment with your goals and your wellness. So to use that planning prefrontal cortex part of your brain, you want to make decisions ahead of time, not in the spur of the moment. Step number 2 on how to have impulse control around sugar and carbs is to pledge. Pledge is like pledging allegiance to the flag, right? It's like committing to something. It's basically following through on what you say you'll do. And this is the hardest step for most of my clients and for myself. So you might be wondering, how do you commit to something? Like, I'm so bad at following through on eating healthy. Like, how the heck do I commit to myself consistently? The way that I recommend to do this, which is what I include in my purpose planner every single day, is I encourage my clients to think about the goal that they set for themselves and tell themselves every single day what their goal is and why they want to achieve that goal. When you recommit to that goal every single day, it helps you see where you want to go. It helps you visualize what your next plans are so you could stay focused on what you want in your life. So if you're wondering, what sort of questions should I be asking myself every morning? How do I make sure I'm focused on my goals every single day? I have the solution for you. I actually have the same purpose planner, the one that I made for my clients and the one that I use for myself every single day. I actually have it available as a PDF that you could download by clicking the link in the description box below. What you'll see is that you'll have a place to write down your food plan, you'll have a place to journal exactly what you eat every single day, and you'll have a place to journal and visualize like your goals every day, what you want to accomplish, so that you could commit to your plan consistently. So if you want your own copy, be sure to click the link in the description box below. All right, moving on to step number 3 of how to have impulse control around sugar and carbs. The third step is to process. You might be wondering, like,
what the heck does that mean?
This is the step that most people don't know about. So processing means to process uncomfortable emotions. And I say this because when you have a plan of what food to eat, it will be really uncomfortable for your brain. The primitive part of your brain is like a toddler. It's like a toddler that wants candy in a grocery store and is throwing a tantrum. And what happens when you tell a toddler, oh no, you can't have candy? It's going to cry, it's going to throw a fit, and that's exactly what your brain is gonna do. That primitive part of your brain doesn't want to be told no for certain foods because it thinks that it needs the sugar to survive. It literally feels like you're going to die if you don't have sugar. So the solution for this is that you don't want to fight these primal urges. You don't want to fight your cravings. You just want to be sure you're processing all the uncomfortable feelings that come up when you commit to your plan. So that means being able to sit with your body, sit with all those uncomfortable emotions that come up, even if you have a craving. So I'll tell my clients to do it almost like a meditation. I call it the 90-second power pause. And what you do is that you just sit, like when you notice that your brain is wanting something, like if your brain is wanting candies that you told yourself won't be on your plan, you want to notice all the sensations in your body that come up that feel really uncomfortable. It's gonna feel crappy. It's gonna feel like FOMO, like fear of missing out. It's gonna feel like deprivation, and it's gonna feel like restriction. And you want to just notice those sensations in your body and just allow them to be there. Don't try to fight it, don't try to change it, just let it be there. Kind of like when you're feeling a sensation of pain. When you feel pain or when you feel fear, you can't get rid of them, but you know that they're going to go away eventually. Just like a craving, just ride the wave of the craving, let yourself feel it, come and go. And when you do that, I promise you the craving will not last forever. It's a sensation that comes and goes, it's only temporary, and you'll be able to tell your brain that you don't eat foods that aren't on your plan. Finally, the fourth step, which is one of the most empowering steps, which most people don't really do, is to persist. So persist means to keep going, even if you don't see the results yet, even if you're not where you want to be, even if you made a mistake. Persisting means to never give up and keep moving forward. So for this step, it's so important that you don't just keep moving forward, but you also want to learn from your mistakes. So if you have a moment where you ate off plan, you don't want to just move on. You want to learn from what happened, understand why you ate off plan, and then apply what you learned the next day. All right, everybody, so you learned the 4 steps of how to have impulse control around sugar, carbs, and any food that you crave. As a recap, it is to plan, pledge, process, and persist. And when you follow these 4 steps, I guarantee you will start having impulse mastery around these foods, and you'll start feeling in control and start losing the weight. If you love these tips and you want to learn more about how to feel in control around sugar and carbs, I release a new video every single week. So if you want to get notified of when my next videos come out, hit the subscribe button below and click the bell so you could be told when all my new videos are out. In the meantime, you could check out my new video in the screen that's coming up next, and I will see you in the next video.